lazy young drivers that are out here. I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach teens and adults. Mainly I'm working with a lot of adults, 18 to about 36 years old. So this will definitely be very impactful. You got a personal responsibility if and when you get a car. You've got to have to take care of it. You're going to have to change oil. You're going to have to do routine maintenance. So we're getting ready to leave a very busy downtown area, and you need to be mentally prepared for all the things you're going to see. Don't drive lazy. We're going to talk about this. The first thing I need you to do is put on your seatbelt. A lot of people get lazy and they have panic stops and they end up flying out of the car and getting hit and injured. We're not about that lifestyle. We're not about getting hit and injured. The next thing I want to talk about, when you put the car in reverse, you need to look out of your back window. Looking in your back of your camera, that's lazy, inefficient, and dangerous. So I'm going to look to my right. I'm going to go back. I'm going to look to my left and go back. Now I'm going to cut the wheel all the way to the right. The rear of the car goes to the right. The front swings out to the left. A lot of people don't know this. I had a seminar yesterday. Hey, Jackson, how are you? Reach out to me on Instagram so I can definitely message you. So I'm going up to the edge. I'm looking. When you're driving, you have to look at traffic. You need to know what's going on. So I'm coming to a private driveway. I'm going to switch the camera angles in a minute. I'm looking left and right. Now I'm going to switch angles. Okay, go into the nearest lane. A lot of lazy drivers, I'm going to do the lazy thing. You see how I went to the left lane? I've just cut off traffic. And when you do that on your test, you're going to lose points and you're going to end up failing and having an accident. Stop being lazy out here and learn these proper fundamentals I'm trying to teach you. I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach adults, I teach teens, and this is the message, and these are the videos you need to be watching. You need to be watching every single video. Let's talk about the dangers of the pedestrians. I'm staying to the left, away from them. There are little kids there. They might run out. I have to come up and yield, and I'm going to yield, and now I'm going to show you something. I have to look over my shoulder to check, and then I proceed and accelerate through. If you're going to be lazy and not look, you just cut off a car. You've just gotten hit. Don't be lazy in your approach to learning. It takes time and work. A lot of people don't want to put in the work because they're lazy. They want the path of least resistance. And this is resonating with you. You really need to be listening to what I'm saying. So I'm going to switch angles again. Now I have all these cars. I have traffic behind me. Don't hit that gas real hard, because if you do, I'm going to hit this really expensive, what is it, Escalade. At the same time, cars don't make the man. Man makes cars. It doesn't matter if you have a $100,000 car or a $10 car. You need to be safe. You need to be consistent. Always be aware. We're at about 30 miles an hour. We're on a service drive. A lot of people get lazy. They get off the expressway and they're driving 70 and 80 miles an hour. You're going to strike a kid. You're going to in a manslaughter charge. I'm here to tell you, like that car to the right of me, why are they going fast? It doesn't even make sense. They're not going to get, see, when one person speeds, another person. Now, this car's either going to cut me off or jam brakes. I don't want to be in that situation. So you have to decide as you watch this. Are you going to find a path of least resistance? Are you going to be lazy? Or are you going to drive to be safe? Because we have a personal responsibility. We have responsibility to the other road users, the car in front of me, people behind me. Now, they didn't use the blinker. That's very frustrating. They could have got hit. But at the same time, I'm not going to hold a grudge against that person. So I'm looking straight. If I look to the left, I could go over the curb, down the embankment. This is why this gate has a cabling system. If the car accidentally went off, the cables would catch the car, like that open gap right there. We're coming by a school zone. You should see the school zone crossing. You should see it right here. We want to stop for 3 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003. And then you proceed. We always need to be defensive minded, because cars and motorists and pedestrians don't mix. If you're watching this right now and this is resonating to you, you need to continue watching. So I have to yield, and that yield is going to give me a gap, and it's going to allow traffic to merge on. And I'm going to take the more traditional way. You have a choice to make, and driving next gives you choices. Do I want to stay and drive 35 to 45 and kind of relax? Or do I want to get on the expressway and drive 70 and 80 and have all this traffic? I feel either way. It's Friday. I'm chilled. So we're going to take it in the nice, relaxed way. I'm going to give you some information. You see all these cars cutting off. You see, I just got cut off. For what? Okay? It's not even worth it. Now, if that's going to be your driving style, you're going to end up having accidents and making people angry. So let's talk about this drive. The max is 35, it will turn to 40 and then 45. If I can keep my speed up, I'm going to start making all lights. It's chilled, it's relaxed, and it's very fulfilling because you're getting closer to your target. That's why you need to know more than one way home. World famous chicken, huh? You never want to block a driveway of a private business. This is KFC, world famous chicken. I know we're all getting hungry. Don't block the driveway. Allow people to enter and exit. It's just called being courteous. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate you. Remember, reach out on Instagram, driving, all lowercase, underscore, with, W-I-T-H, Myles, M-Y-L-E-S. And you should be able to message me there and we'll get it going. So look, I'm cruising about 35. It's relaxed. No one's tailgating me. I'm comfortable. And this is what driving should be about. No one wants to be in a pressure situation where you got to go 75, 85, 90. Why? I've been through Chicagoland before. You're welcome. I've been through Chicagoland before. And they were going 85 and 90, and I was going 70, and they were leaving me, right? So once you get your license, you got to have that personal responsibility, and we're all on the budget. I don't care if you're making 100,000 or $1 million. We all live within a budget. There are levels to everything. So see this truck? They just decided to cut over in front of me. They're in a hurry. Plus they're carrying that refrigerator. I don't want that refrigerator in my lap. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change lanes. I feel much safer now. And you have to determine, do we really want to be behind this person carrying that heavy refrigerator? They have a panic stop, doesn't look strapped in. That refrigerator is going to come flying out, damage this car, come through the window, and then I could be hit. So I don't want that. You can see the person cutting over again with the refrigerator. They're an erratic lane changer. I'm cruising at about 40. I'm smooth. I'm taking my time. And if you were driving with me now, I would tell you, slow down. What are you driving fast for? Take a better personal responsibility. Now, occasionally, 1 in 25 students do drive fast. Most beginning drivers, that 18 to 36, you're going to be driving slow. You're that Gen Z. But if you learn the improper way, you're either going to be going really fast and putting us in danger, and I'm going to mark you down, or you're going to be going really slow and creating a hazard. Both are dangerous. What is more dangerous? I would definitely say driving faster, because you, as a beginner driver, you don't understand the driving environment. Example, we're at about 35 right now. If I hit the gas too hard, I'm going to rear in this blue Impala, and I don't want to do that. So you need to learn. Plus, it's raining outside, and we're going to have reduced traction. These two simple things can have a very devastating impact on our driving development. Plus, I'm saving fuel economy. You saw how they kind of tap brakes? That, oh my God. You saw how they just, I don't know what they're doing. So you see, by us having room, all of this crazy stuff is going on up here. This car stopped. They started. Because we have a good following distance, guess what? We're making most lights. Guess what? We can be able to see. In my online class yesterday, one of my students said, "Why do I need to look ahead?" I said to him, imagine walking down the hallway in your high school, in your college. You need to know what's ahead of you. To the right, up ahead of me, there's a Ram truck with a refrigerator in the back, and they keep cutting lanes. That refrigerator is, say, 150 pounds. Do I really want that in front of me? And guess what? We're back up to where that truck is, and we didn't have to speed. And we're using good fuel economy, and I'm using a ball of my foot. Driving is very important because you're going to be able to help your community. I always talk about community involvement. There needs to be more driver's education programs in places of color. Community driver's education programs. Have someone who we can invest, and if you're watching, I'm available. We had to get that 18 to 36 age group out here because they don't have a license, they're driving illegally, they're driving with little experience, and that age group unfortunately has a lot of accidents. So I want to preach accident prevention, and I really want all of you to follow and watch these videos and then leave comments, because it's about sustainability. Because when you drive, you're going to feel free and independent, and that's so important. Independence is so important. We're at about 30 miles an hour. The flow has slowed down, and we're going to go into this really beautiful, relaxing curve. I know you see the video. It's kind of relaxing, just chilling. There's no one really putting pressure on me. I'm checking my mirrors. These small details will separate lazy drivers from good drivers. And whenever I give you a tutorial, I have both hands on the wheel. I have a camera mounted. I keep my follow. Thank God they turned. I keep my following distance. I'm not tailgating. I don't road rage, because when you do that, you're becoming lazy. You're allowing someone else to make you upset, someone else to make you mad. And guess what? That's what they want to do. They want to make you mad. They want to make you angry. And they want to see you lose it, and then you become a crazy fruitcake. That's right. So you have to keep composed, and you have to be aware. The speed limit is now 40. I'm at about 35. I see the little Domino's truck, almost a Little Caesars, and then I'm just staying smooth and consistent. Hello from the UK. Hey, how are you? How are you? I love my people from the UK. That's my second largest group outside of the United States. What is the time there in the UK? Okay, so, and of course they drive on the left, they drive manuals, but I love learning. And probably people in the UK, they have a much stricter test than we have here in the United States, and it is very serious. And it takes, okay, it's 9 p.m. Okay, brother. Okay, sister. I really appreciate you just taking the time to jump in. We're talking about stop being lazy, learning how to drive. A manual's much better. Bro, yes. I know how to drive a manual also. I've driven a 5-speed T5. I used to have a Z28 IROC Z, and I really became one with the road. You can't be lazy driving a manual, let me tell you. You got to know what gear to be in. If you're in the wrong gear, the car's going to buck and surge, and it's going to shut off, right? I'll tell you a story. I was working at the YMCA, Men's Christian organization, a member. First name is Solemn. I'm not going to say his last name. He let me borrow, you're going to laugh, he let me borrow his Volkswagen. It was a Volkswagen. I did not know how to drive a manual. I was too embarrassed. I'm already here at this light. I was too embarrassed to say no. He said, sure, you can drive it. He gave me the keys. I'm like, yay. I was like, oh. It took me so long to start the car. I knew how to start it, but stalling the car out. I kept stalling the car, every single light, every single light, every single light. And it took me like a half an hour to go like a couple of miles. That's embarrassing, but guess what? I went to go get my girl cousin, my favorite girl cousin. right? And then we drove around the metro area. I kept stalling that thing out and stalling it out. I tell you this story because I didn't know how to drive a manual, but eventually I learned how to drive a manual transmission on a Volkswagen Beetle. It was orange. And I was so pure. I was in high school, right? And I said something about driving. People need to learn how to drive both. They need to learn how to drive the manuals. They need to learn how to drive automatics. In my profession, I'm an instructor in North America. I'm in the Midwest. 100% we drive automatics, okay? And I know I've had one client, her granddad got her a truck. She learned how to drive a manual in the weekend. She sent me a video. She was driving in the parking lot, going in circles, shifting those gears, right? So she learned how, but 90% of the cars here in the United States are automatics, okay? Let me switch screens again. So like if I was driving in this heavy traffic, you know, I will push my clutch in so the car doesn't stall out, right? And then the hazard, we don't want to be lazy. See this car, they just kind of cut through. You always have to be defensive minded. And I will say learning how to drive a manual made me more aware. I couldn't be lazy and just cheat and throw it in fifth gear because the car would stall out and kind of surge, but also I couldn't put it in first gear because I would rev the engine RPM up. And then during that time, I had to drive down to the metro area to pick up my mom, right? She was in the medical field. And of course, you know, what I was doing, I was working on my manual. I had blew up that transmission like 4 times. I was racing, power shifting, missing second gear, right? And it was third gear. It was third gear. So I had blew up the transmission 3 times, but I worked. I had a job. She said, as long as you save money, you know, you can have a job. So just because I had a job doesn't mean I'm an adult. And my mom and dad said, okay, you can pay some of your bills, boy, right? So they're from the South. So, you know, you got to pay bills. But I learned a lot. And that had me focused on becoming that young adult, becoming that young man. And I didn't have time to be lazy. A lot of my friends didn't drive, okay? And I would pick them up, we would hang out, okay? Also during a football game, we had one, you know, we all had put $5, $10 in. I thought, there was about 20 of us, I thought we were gonna hang out, get a hotel together, watching football games and eat pizza, right? They lied to us, right? They had friends over, and guess what? We weren't invited. So I said, you guys are terrible. You know, so you want to hang out with your teammate, you know, we're trying to win a state championship. So you learn from things like that because people don't always keep their promise and they don't always say what they're going to do. So a lot of people have a hidden agenda, ulterior motive, right? So when you learn how to drive, you learn how to just get away from this mess, okay? And when you're at a high school and you know how to drive, what do? You go to the other high school. You go to the opponent's high school and you hang out with their girls or their boys. Cause a little bit of trouble, right? I'm not advocating trouble and drama, but you gotta have a little fun, right? If you know what I'm saying, drop a like or a thumbs up. But you have that because a lot of the rivalry, if you stay in the area long enough, are high schools or colleges, right? And you learn that rivalry and then you go into the workforce. That's so-and-so. We play college football together. We tried for the NFL together. I don't like him. I don't like her, right? So you have those fun conversations all the time, but it's what drives you to really become the safest driver you can. If I was downshifting, I would have pushed in my clutch. Okay, this is just a good example. What I learned also in heavy traffic, man, I hated shifting that clutch. My leg was so tired of shifting those gears, right? But also there's that freedom of shifting gears and really connecting to your car. Like me, and I'm examining this, I would probably be in 3rd gear, 4th gear right now, just cruising. I'm not trying to be in 5th gear. We're not racing anyone, right? I tell you those stories because it's true. And I got my license in high school. The school provided driver's education, and I understand a lot of you just don't have that driver's education opportunity. You're going to have to go through a third party. I've worked in the public schools doing driver's ed. I've worked at third party locations doing driver's ed. I've also worked at a special assignment. I really can't say that much about it, but there were about 25 clients I had to drive. They were 18 to 36. I had to prepare them for the test. So Jackson, you probably need some preparation like that, so I can help you with that and get you prepared for your next journey. And that's what it's all about, preparing you for your next journey. So I'm just maintaining good speed. I'm not going slow, but I'm not going fast. I have some options. Do I want to get on the expressway now, or do I want to continue on this relaxing drive? It's pretty nice to relax. And if you notice, I haven't really stopped that much because the speed control is pretty good. And this, I'm sorry about all the bumps in this driving environment. They don't take care of the roads this much. I don't know how the infrastructure is in your community, but I'm at about 35 and we're making most lights, and I'm just trying to squeeze brakes, be real gentle. And this is kind of a relaxing drive, and you're going to learn that personal responsibility too. Your parents may say, okay, I know you want to keep the car, so you got to drop me off at work. I'll fill up your tank, but you got to pick me up at 3:30 in the morning. You're saying to myself, I got to pick you up at 3:30 in the morning. You want to drive? You want the car? You want to hang out with your friends? You're like, yeah, I want to hang out with my friends. So you start making plans. You call your friend, you text them, hey, I'm going to pick you up at 10:30. But then you realize you're going to be hanging out to 2. But then you got to pick up your parent, your guardian, at 3 or 3:30. And if you show up late, you won't be getting the car anymore. So that's that personal responsibility. And you got to quit being lazy, because some of your friends like to drag. And then that's going to mess you up because they're trying to get ready. They're playing around. And you have to be there at 3:30 in the morning, at 3:45 to pick up your mom or dad. And if you're late, give me the keys. Why? I told you to be here on time, and now you're not. So that's where that laziness comes in at, and that's where that personal responsibility. So sometimes your parents will give you like a honesty test. I don't know if you guys heard of this. They'll give you an honesty test. Like if you were in law enforcement, right? I'm sharing some secrets here. Honesty test. You'll go into a trap house. They'll have money in there. Let's say it's $80,000. And you'll go in, you'll handle what you need to handle. There's $80,000. You've got to count up all the money. You've got to, 20s, hundreds, tens, right? Honesty test, okay? And then you got to turn it in. And then later, your commander's going to pull you aside. They want to say thank you. You passed one of our tests. They wanted to see if you were actually going to take that money, because $80,000 could change someone's life. Okay, I've seen $100,000 cash. I've seen $80,000. And you got to be honest. So I want to tell you about that honesty test. And a lot of people just can't be honest, because if no one's watching you, what are you going to do with that money? If no one's watching you, you're going to speed 100 miles an hour. But the state police officer is sitting in the median with a black car, and they have you on radar a mile away. Okay? So that's that honesty test. And then you're going to come home. No, you're not going home because you got a ticket. You're going to be late. And then if you don't tell your parents or your guardian, a ticket's going to come home. And now the car is not in your name. Now you got a problem. So a lot of 18 to 30-year-olds get caught up in that situation. So I talked about the honesty test. Okay? And you can take this to relationships. You can meet someone on the west side, but you live on the east side. And now you gotta make a line to cover another line. Now I gotta get in the middle lane. I gotta squeeze my brakes. This is a protected left turn, so I have to yield to traffic and stop. And just because you're on your permit, or you're trying to get your permit, you get tested every day. Are you going to drive safe? You see how smoothly I made that turn? I could speed down here and do like 100, but I'm not going to do that. That's irresponsible. Why would I lose control of my car? Why would I do that? A lot of people, because they're 18 to 20, 18 to 25, 18 to 36, they're going to make stupid decisions. And unfortunately, that age group, that 18 to 36, they're involved in a lot of accidents. Because they say your brain's not fully developed until you're 25. No one wants to wait to 25, but some people do. 25, 27, 39 to learn how to drive. And I'm not going to judge, okay? A lot of you have shared things with me. I'm not judging. I'm just here to offer you support, creativity, and I really want to start that community driver's education program to help those young adults, people of color, single moms, anyone who needs help, because the biggest thing is getting to the Secretary of State, right? What do I do? First, you've got to call the Secretary of State. You have to get something called a TIP. That's a temporary instruction permit, because you're over 18 and you're going to have to take a test. Well, can I study for the test? Sometimes there are guides there, but I'll tell you a secret. There are about 10 different tests. You see me looking to the left, I'm looking at traffic. I'm not going to be lazy and pull out in front of a car. I don't want to get hit. That's stupid, man. So I'm just really waiting and checking. Now it's green. You saw me look, and then I'm going to change. Okay, and turn into the nearest lane. Keep your turn as short as possible. So you got to know how to get to Secretary of State, but a lot of people, maybe you got a child on the way, maybe you got two, I don't know, maybe mama drama. You got to get your license. A lot of people drive illegally in the cities, Houston, Detroit, LA, okay, Atlanta. They're driving illegally, and as a result, we have a large sector of the population. Remember, I talked about that honesty, okay? I have a law enforcement background before I changed. A lot of young people are making poor decisions. Hang out with their boys. Hey, let's go see this girl. Let's go hang out here. And you're in a stolen car. Or, hey, man, can you drop this off? I'm going to give you $100. You don't know. You just got caught up in a situation. So a lot of decisions we make can impact our lives. And if I have a chance to change one of your lives right now, because you're taking the time to listen, and you've written some incredible comments, like my heart, like I have tears in my eyes. I did not know so many of you really care, right? I'm talking about, driver's education, that Gen Z group, that 18 to about 36 years old group. They just don't want to drive. They want to stay at home, be in mom's basement. Mama pay for it, dad will pay for it. Guess what? Your parents don't want to pay for it. Everyone's on a budget. Health insurance is expensive. Cars are expensive. Insurance is expensive. For me to do this driver's ed thing, there's special insurance that I need because I'm driving people who could possibly crash into a building, hit a car. I do have a brake in the car, but if I hit the brake too hard, I'm going to snap the cable. You didn't know that. So there's so many things that you have to deal with, and gas is expensive. So, and a lot of times people are pushing off driver's ed to the last second. I've had about 10 people, do you do lessons? Can I get your number? Can you help me? So I understand we got bills to pay. Christmas has recently passed. You get it when you can. And I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help. I'm here to inspire. I'm here to actively engage you, okay? And the YMCA, that's where I got my start, okay? I had 2 jobs. I worked at the YMCA and I worked at the West Side Bus Terminal. I love cars. My true passion is education. A lot of you don't know that. So I'm telling you my background, and when someone gives, it helps you give back, right? And for me, teaching driver's ed, and I'm looking at this like the last 3 or 4 years, there are thousands of people 18 to 36 years old that just feel trapped. Hey, there's no one that can help me. Everyone says these things, but my mom is not going to help me. My dad's not going to help me. Your boyfriend, ladies, wants to keep you dependent on him. Okay? We're talking about independence. And guys, there are girls that are gonna hold you back too. So I have all girls in my family. They've been through some things too. Okay, and as the firstborn in the family, I'm very protective of my cousins. Let me tell you that. So we're not trying to handle any disrespect in the family, because it's all about economic development, economic wealth, and driving will give you that independency. It's bigger than just passing your test. I got my license, yeah. Now I got to get a car. I got to save money. So you have to crawl before you can walk. You might have to catch the bus 3 months, 6 months, and save that check. Like you might have to work at a Dairy Queen. You might have to work at a McDonald's and save your money. But now you're going to start making money, and your boys and girls, hey, let's go out. You're like, yeah, no, I can't go out. Don't you work? Yeah. But you're trying to save a car and your other friends don't drive. Okay? So that's a win-loss. Because they're going to look at you with their hand out like, you going to give me some money? I ain't giving you nothing. You didn't work. I worked. I worked for this. Okay? And the reality is you're going to see it 18, 20, 27, 30. Because your so-called friends, they're the same friends that you had in high school who really didn't do much. Messed up in school, flunked out. And it happens. My mom always said, you see me checking that blind spot, right? My mama always said, be around positive people who are doing things. Thank you, Mom. Be around positive people. Okay? Don't be the clown in class. And I did not want to disappoint my mom and dad. I wanted to really make them proud of me. Okay? And I was fortunate enough to get an athletic scholarship, right? And I didn't realize the odds. 1 in a million get a scholarship. I had 5 offers. My son had 3. I beat him. And now he's trying to beat the odds to go to the NFL to get into a camp. He passed his master's, amen. That's going to change his life. I have a master's too. So the more education you have, the greater opportunities can come. But you need to know how to talk to people. You need to know how to do social media. You need to know how to have your license. You need to know how to keep your license and quit speeding and getting tickets, and then mom and dad pay for them. Because you're not learning that personal responsibility and you keep being lazy. So all of you have brothers or sisters, and you see me look over my right shoulder and check that blind spot, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm immediately engaged in you, but I'm driving safe. So driving is a tool that can open up more things. You driving to college, going to football camp. You at football camp and you're tired, you go off campus, you go get a Slurpee, go get a pop, it feels so good, but you're in camp for a month, So I'm going to squeeze my brake, I'm not going to block the driveway. That's also how an accident has happened, because cars will cut through to the right. And talking about used cars, these used cars are like $40,000 for a little Kia, bro. I'm not hating on a Kia or a Honda. You get what you can afford. And sometimes if you buy a used piece of junk, it's going to break down. So there's so many things you have to know. If I'm preaching to you and this is making sense, give it a thumbs up. Because this is the reality. No one's going to teach you these things. I was lucky to have good friends in high school who worked on cars, and they were able to show me this. And, I was a high school kid, 16, 17, grown men, 36, 37, who had those SS Super Sports, those Impalas, those OGs. They were like, we're going to show you how to fix your car, bring your car over. I thought they were going to do the work. They're like, get out your car. I'm like, what? We're going to show you what to do. This is in the winter time. Like it's raining right now, they would have me out there working on cars. You can't be scared to work on cars. And if you don't, you're going to have to pay someone for it. And guess what? Now that I'm older, I am so appreciative of that. The young generation, the 18 to 36, they don't even know what a screwdriver is. Okay, give me a standard versus a Phillip. Give me a box in versus an open end. Okay, you don't even know what tools are. So when I talk about driver's ed, my students and adults, they're like, what are you talking about, bro? So I just wanted to share this with you. I wanted to say thank you. And if this brought some value, follow. Just look at all my videos. Bye, guys.